there's nothing like the kinesthetic value of doing something, So you can prepare for whatever. Jack can be part of international competition. Glenn and Ed can play high level of AAU in high school. But until you get into the Big Ten and go through that grind, I don't think anything can prepare you for that. So just the idea of going through it and the value of that, I think, is huge.
One player of those freshmen that maybe surpassed your expectations?
No, not really. I thought we got pretty much what I thought we'd get out of. I think Jack was maybe quicker to acclimate than I thought he would be. Like, he was on top of. You can tell him something once and he can go out and do it, which is a great. Which probably got him more playing time. Sometimes when he wasn't making shots or being as productive, Ed was up and down with injury, of course, and Glenn's going to make more shots. I feel confident of that. Some of his best numbers in our shooting drills and stuff in our workouts were at the end of the year, where like we do a Celtic 50, where you have to shoot and make 50 shots. So we count how many attempts, right? And I think Andrew's got the record at 54, and Glenn had 57 the week before, or the day before we left for the Big Ten tournament. So we see him shooting better, and you don't just get hot when you have to make 50 shots. It's something you have to sustain. So, Michael, I think, is more of a 4-man than a 5, but I think he battled and learned a lot of things that way too. There's not too much to expand about. We all got together and talked about it, and it seemed like a real consensus that we weren't going to go anywhere. That if we weren't going to be in one of those, the NCAA tournament, and the NIT was going to be hard to get anyway. There's 15 at-larges. I think the average is 7 or whatever it might be, and so I just, everybody was maybe emotionally exhausted too, but the guys had a strong voice in this, and so then it was really comes down to what I think, and it was a consensus really that this is Coach, this is it. There were some details on both that hadn't been worked out. The one thing about Vegas, it's the week after spring break, which now brings you into more missed class time and some of that stuff, which makes sense for Vegas, but just depending on how you line up with class time and what you've missed, it might not work for the program.
Have you second-guessed that decision at all?
No. Nope. Because I haven't. Because I know what the guys wanted. I know where we were. I haven't second-guessed it.
Tim, you said was that the staff and the players, and not Mark and Sean? Were they?
Mark and Sean were the final sign off, sign on. But they were, I talked at length on whatever day we got beat out. I had breakfast with Sean and Mark, and we were putting a pencil to cost on either event we thought we were going to be around for, and they were going to say yes to just about anything. Yes to the end, yes to the beginning, whatever it might be.
What about postseason next year?
Well, I think we'll have to decide on that next year.
Do you feel pressure to get there, like the NCAA or the NIT?
Well, I always want to get to the NCAA. I feel strongly about where we're at and where we're going. We had a losing season our first year, and I'll bet you money nobody in this room would have bet we would have won 6 Big Ten games. I would have collected a boatload of money. But to everybody else, it's 3 losing seasons out of 4. And so we've done some things that I feel comfortable about. This team won 8 Big Ten games, and I do include the tournament just like you guys do, and so I think those are important wins, and we just left too many out there this year, and that wasn't. I wish we hadn't. We weren't far from being better and having a better win and loss record, but you are what your record says it is. So there it is.
Do you think though that your record reflects over 4 years the work you've done here, or what you've done?
I don't believe so. One is we went to the NCAA tournament, which I think is a huge thing, and then we kind of had to restart. When you look at the season after, which, if there's truly a disappointing season in my book, it was 14-15. And I think everybody would agree. The players, the coaches, everybody's just disappointed the way it went down. But then after that season, you lose 4 seniors, right? Am I right on that? And then Turan declares, Walt declares, and all of a sudden now you've got this exodus of, humanity, long, strong guys, and we're starting over with a bunch of young guys, and we knew that to a degree going in, and we had a sense that Turan was going to go. Didn't know about Walt, but when he decided to go, that we thought, okay, we've got some other guys, we'll just play them whether they're ready or not, and that's what we did. We weren't able to secure, late available. We had some guys, Max Bielfeldt was the 6th man of the year in the Big Ten, so we were in on some quality guys, I think. But we just weren't able to get it done. And that's really what it comes down to with this late recruiting. We need a center. And we need to get one signed here late that can, I think, be a center point for our offense, our defense, and be one of those guys that anchors, what we do.
Based on what leads you have in that, how confident are you that you will get somebody by signing day?
Well, I don't know about signing day. That's, a moving target depending on visits. And if you've got a kid in a prep school and you've got family somewhere else and you've got little brothers and sisters doing something else, getting everybody on the same page at the same time, especially during an evaluation period, in April. I'm not worried about signing date. I think when we get somebody committed, they'll be committed. That's what I want.
Is the transfer market just something you have to rely on? I mean, given it was over 750 games last year, and
Yeah, it's been good to everybody around here, right? Ask Greg McDermott or myself. I think we both agree that Division I transfers has been, impactful. Dana Altman, at Oregon, it's part of the deal.
You think about moving toward next year now, talking about some of the guys you've lost in the past, now you lose Siobhan. Do you reconfigure the way you run the offense without what he brings to the table, or do you try to continue, what you like? How do you put
Well,
the pieces together?
So we kind of played the way we like to play. And Jack McVay, I don't know what he averaged in those 4 games that Siobhan was gone, but, he did well. That 4th spot does well for us. We put him in the middle of a lot of action. And it's a fun spot to be. And it really depends on how some of these younger guys acclimate, what we get here in the final spot of recruiting. I think I have a really good idea what Anton Gill brings to the table. Dryhorn, you think you know what Dry and Isaiah Roby are going to bring. Isaiah is one of the better passers I've been around. Who knows where I'll play him, and so I think we just got to get him out there and get him in game form before we make too many things. But, I still always regret at the end of the year not running more true motion. I just always get to there. But, I've also been told by people wiser than me that I won't name that it's just harder the higher you go. And I don't know if that's because we all become control freaks because we have great jobs or because it's just not taught the way we hope it's taught, and so, it's just one of those things that I thought our offense was better, but there's no doubt that our defensive length on the perimeter hurt us with guarding threes. Without a rim protector, having to stop penetration with your perimeter guys and not getting out to the three, it's hard to be 2 places at once, even though you have to be. And it's, I think, clear as a bell. The games that we won, we played good 3-point defense, and the games we didn't win 3-point defense. And even though the guys know that better than anybody, and even though Maryland's 10 for 11, right, they won't stop playing. That's what I really liked about this team, and that's why I felt confident going into the postseason is because a lot of teams would have laid down and died knowing, oh geez, here we are. There's no way we're going to get them to miss 20 straight threes to get them to be the number we have to, and because they're not going to take that many, first of all, and second of all, it looks like they're on, right? Well, they kept battling until the final 30 seconds of the game. Who knows what could have happened.
You mentioned Division I transfers.
Yeah, I might have somebody I haven't even met yet that I really like.
How about the one you had sitting out this year?
I really like Anton Gill. He's as healthy as he's ever been. He's a very explosive athlete. I would say, like, for instance, he's more explosive vertically than Ty. He's not maybe he's quite as tall as Ty, but he's much better, like, finishing. and one of our better finishers, like in transition and even around the rim, can take contact because he's explosive. He's a one-directional driver, more like, seems like all of our guys except Glenn, and he's a very good jump shooter, reads screens all right. Not necessarily a ball in hand guy like Siobhan or Turan or one of those guys, or Ty has become a little bit better at. But I think he brings a lot to the table. There's a reason he's a top 40 recruit. There's a reason he got 16 in a Sweet 16 game in the NCAA tournament. And I think we're going to get the best of Anton Gill.
You mentioned Ty. I mean, where's he at this year, kind of relative to where you hope he would be?
I think he's, our top two, if you look at all the numbers that I look at, which I hope you don't, or you're that bored, but our top two guys over my years here have been fine. We've had as good a top two guys as just about anybody in the league. So you go Turan, Siobhan, Andrew, Siobhan, right? And our bottom two guys, if you go 8 deep, have been fine too. If you look at that, it's the middle four, right? And that's the depth of your talent. And Ty has developed into being one of those really critical and high need, dependable middle four guys. Now will he jump up to the top? I don't know. But he's one of those guys I felt at the end of the year, I knew we were going to get 10 or 12 from him, 4 or 5 rebounds, and he's going to do a great job defensively. And so, that's critical to highly successful basketball.
Tim, how do you feel about the leadership of the team heading into the offseason? I mean, the past couple years you've had Siobhan and Benny.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting to see who steps up, who's got a strong voice. Andrew is so well-spoken, but yet he's so polite and to himself. And Ty is Ty, and who's a great guy. But I think both those guys will step up. And then it's up to, I think, some of those younger freshmen who are going to be sophomores to maybe step up also because they've been put in a position to make a difference with playing time, and now they get a chance to have a voice on the team. And once you're done being a freshman, maybe you feel like you've got a chance to have more of an impact on the team from a leadership standpoint.
Questions for Coach?
You know what your roster looks like next year as far as guys returning?
No, and that's a good question. If there's turnover, we'll announce it as we know it. I've met with some of the guys and feel comfortable that where we're at with our main guys. But there's certainly, as you sit down with a guy and say, hey, you might be the third or fourth guard or third or fourth wing or third or fourth post, so your playing time might be similar, that as we talked about 700 Division I recruits, we've contributed to that each year. And I don't think we're above that, that's 2 a school. And so I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. You want to keep everybody, but you can't satisfy everybody with 13 scholarships and playing 8, 9 guys. So part of the deal. So as I know, you'll know.
Tim, real quick, as the NCAA tournament bracket came out, some of the national discussion was the Big Ten maybe got a bit disrespected with Indiana, Maryland, Purdue all getting 5 seeds. Did you kind of see it that way?
I was a little bit surprised by Indiana, considering, and I don't know anything, but, if you say, well, they went out early in the Big Ten tournament, then why isn't Michigan State a 1 seed for winning the Big Ten tournament, So it is what it is. I thought 5 was, low, for some of those guys. But, I wouldn't be surprised to see 4 teams in the, Sweet 16. And then they can take their seed and plant it, right where it belongs. So I'd love to be a 5 seed someday. Kevin, let's get us there, damn it. So thanks very much.